Welcome to the South Ops Fire Weather Webcast for Thursday, August 21st. I'm your host, Kristen Stewart. Strong high pressure is in control over the western U.S., and as a result, the marine layer has pretty much disappeared. There are no coastal low clouds this morning, and this lack of clouds will give way to strong warming for coastal areas and very few areas of cool relief as we kickstart this heat wave. There is a lot more mid and high level clouds streaming into the southern two-thirds of the state associated with the monsoon flow. This influx of moisture will continue to be mostly isolated to the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, preventing much in the way of thunderstorm activity today. As we have been messaging all week, the main weather concern over the next several days is the significant heat building across the region due to a strong four corners high pressure area. This feature is expected to remain in place through the weekend with little overall change in strength or position, keeping much hotter than normal conditions in play for several days. It is also expected to bring increased chances of thunderstorm activity as we move closer to the weekend, as it is a favorable pattern for bringing in subtropical moisture and instability that we call the monsoon. High pressure will begin to weaken late this weekend into next week, but very warm temperatures and thunderstorm chances will likely continue. Temperatures will continue to warm strongly across the region today, then warm a little more away from the coast on Friday, which will be the warmest day of the period. By Friday, highs will soar to at least 10 to 15 degrees above seasonal normal, with valleys peaking around 100 to 105, the high desert 105 to 110, and the lower mountains in the 90s. The very shallow marine layer and lack of low clouds will allow inland coastal areas to also experience the increasing heat, with temperatures likely soaring into the 90s. Heat advisories and extreme heat warnings cover the majority of the state, and some daily record high temperatures are possible during this time, so please exercise heat safety. Gradual cooling is expected this weekend into next week, but high temperatures will likely remain above seasonal normal values. As strong high pressure remains dominant, daytime humidity will lower into the 8 to 20% range away from the coastline through the next couple of days before returning to around 12 to 25% this weekend into next week. The marine layer will remain very shallow to non-existent, allowing for lower humidity to expand farther across the coastal plains, and night through morning low clouds will be isolated to the coastline if there are any at all. Increasing monsoon moisture may keep daytime humidity elevated across the deserts and Sierra Friday or Saturday into next week. Areas of poor to fair overnight recoveries will become more widespread across the higher terrain over the next couple of nights. However, the increasing monsoon moisture by this weekend will reduce the coverage of poor recoveries across the deserts and adjacent slopes. The strong heating leading to well above normal temperatures will contribute to the development of deep mixing heights to over 15,000 feet during the peak of the heat event. Combined with low daytime humidity and critically dry fuels, all these factors will lead to a dangerous fire environment, particularly for the mountains and interior foothills away from the marine influence. Despite the weather conditions not expecting to reach typical red flag warning criteria with respect to winds and humidity, red flag warnings are in effect for the higher risk areas of the Southern California mountains and nearby foothills due to the extreme heat and instability that will likely cause significant fire behavior if an ignition were to occur. Like I mentioned at the beginning, the incoming monsoonal moisture today will be mostly isolated to the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, though the moisture is more robust than it has been the past couple of days. The fact that the moisture is remaining highly elevated will prevent much in the way of thunderstorm activity today, though model projections indicate there is a small chance of isolated thunderstorm activity across eastern portions of the deserts and mountains this afternoon. Thunderstorm activity will likely be on the drier side today, since the more robust moisture will remain in the higher levels of the atmosphere, and the low levels will remain very dry, meaning that dry lightning strikes will be a threat. More widespread thunderstorm activity is likely on Friday across the deserts and higher terrain away from the central coast, with a mix of wet and dry thunderstorms as more moisture spreads into the lower levels of the atmosphere. A similar outlook in terms of thunderstorm coverage is likely this weekend into early next week, with a better chance of wetter storms. Storm motion will also be on the slower side, which will allow more moisture to reach the surface, giving way to a better chance of wetting rain. Any thunderstorms will be capable of producing abundant lightning, gusty erratic winds, and localized downpours and flash flooding. Even though the mountains and deserts are at the greatest risk of thunderstorm activity, easterly flow may allow any storms over the mountains to drift into adjacent valleys. Many mountain areas, especially the Sierra, will likely see plenty of windy rain. A substantial increase in large fire threat is expected today with continued significant heating and rapid lowering of dead fuel moistures. The probability of a large fire will reach the high category for the first time this season, which is well above seasonal normal. The high threat for large fires will continue through Saturday, before beginning to lower on Sunday with a gradual cooling trend. The intense surface heating will bring very deep mixing heights to over 15,000 feet during the peak of the heat event. This strong level of instability will create a fire environment capable of producing extreme fire behavior through significant vertical plume growth, especially combined with increasing instability from thunderstorm potential. Warm overnight temperatures and more widespread areas of fair to poor humidity recoveries will lead to long burn windows and active fire behavior well into the night. Despite mostly light winds, any enhanced breeziness across the higher terrain and deserts will exacerbate the spread of any plume-dominated fires. As a result of the dangerous fire environment expected with respect to significant heat and instability, burn environment high risks remain in the forecast for the Southern California mountains today through Saturday. Lightning strikes may cause new fire ignitions over the mountains and deserts through early next week, especially today and Friday when thunderstorms will be drier. Increased moisture and precipitation chances moving in by this weekend will help mitigate spread potential of any lightning-caused starts. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Our next webcast will be on Friday, August 22nd. Have a fantastic day.